Today, the sky changes its tone. The lightness of the past few days gives way to the weight of reality. Expansion gives way to structure. The moon, our collective heart, enters the sober, mature, and relentlessly honest sign of Capricorn, and its message is a cosmic warning, direct and unadorned. The time of illusion has ended. Today is a call to look at our life without masks, to face the facts, and to assume the power that resides in responsibility. This is not a light or easy energy. It is an energy of maturation. It is the force that invites us to stop looking for culprits and to start building solutions. It is the clarity that shows us the fragile foundations of our life, not to shame us, but to give us the opportunity to rebuild them on solid rock. The weight we may feel today is not a punishment. It is the gravity of our own sovereignty, calling us to a new level of commitment to ourselves. Before we dive into the depth of this day, the universe asks for a commitment, an act of will. If you are ready to trade illusion for reality and excuse for power, anchor your intention now. Declare in the comments, "I choose responsibility." With this declaration, you align yourself with the force of this transit. You signal to the cosmos that you are ready for the test and for the gift. And now, let us explore together how to transform today's weight into tomorrow's liberation. Today, the first thing you may notice is not an event, but a change in the atmosphere. The air seems denser. The rhythm of the world seems slower, more serious. The lightness and expansion of the previous days give way to a sense of gravity, as if every step, every thought, and every decision has a greater weight. This is not your imagination. This is the signature of the moon in the sign of Capricorn. Our collective emotional compass now points to the peak of the mountain of reality, and the first thing we feel is the weight of the climb that lies ahead. This weight manifests in two main ways. The first is a sense of responsibility that settles on our shoulders. Suddenly, we become acutely aware of our duties, our commitments, the consequences of our actions, the small tasks we have postponed, the conversations we have avoided, the areas of our life we have neglected. All of this emerges into our consciousness today, not as an option, but as an obligation. It is the feeling that playtime is over, and that now it is time to take things seriously. It is the universe presenting us, calmly but firmly, with the bill for our choices. Along with this weight comes an internal demand. It is not the anxious voice of self-criticism, but a deeper, more sober voice, the voice of our inner master. It is the part of us that longs for integrity, for excellence, for a life that is built on solid foundations. This voice may ask you uncomfortable questions today. Are you really giving your best in this? Is this structure in your life truly sustainable in the long term? Are you honoring your word to yourself and to others? This demand does not come to diminish you, but to elevate you. It is the call of your own soul to a higher standard of being. It is crucial that we understand the nature of this feeling. Our first reaction may be to see this weight as something negative, as a burden, a punishment. But the wisdom of Capricorn teaches us the opposite. This weight is not a punishment. It is a call to maturity. The universe is not punishing us. It is honoring us. It is treating us as spiritual adults, capable of looking at our life with honesty, of taking responsibility for our creations, and of doing the hard work that growth requires. The weight you feel today is the weight of your own tools. It is the weight of the hammer and the nails that you need to use to build your cathedral. To feel this weight is not a sign that you are failing. It is the sign that you are finally being invited to become the master builder of your own life. The weight of responsibility that the moon in Capricorn brings us today has an immediate purpose to anchor us in reality. And reality, under this sober and relentless light, has a purifying quality. Today is the day when the truth arrives without makeup. The pragmatic energy of Capricorn functions as a solvent that dissolves the layers of fantasy, of denial, and of magical thinking, with which we often paint our lives to make them more palatable. The illusions we allow ourselves, the excuses we tell ourselves, the convenient narratives that keep us stagnant. Today, all of that loses its force. The cold, honest light of this transit illuminates the fissures in our facade, and what once seemed solid is revealed to be fragile. This process manifests as a direct confrontation with the facts. Think of that area of your life where you have been avoiding the truth. It could be the truth about your financial situation, about the health of a relationship, about your professional dissatisfaction, or about a habit that is harming you. Today, the universe conspires to present you with the facts in an undeniable way. It could be a bank statement that you can no longer ignore, a conversation that exposes the true dynamic of a relationship, or a sudden physical exhaustion that forces you to face the consequences of your lifestyle. The fog of denial dissipates, and what remains is the naked landscape of your reality. Faced with this unvarnished truth, there are only two possible responses. The first is that of resistance. It is the attempt to flee from clarity, to reapply the makeup, to pretend you did not see what you saw. Whoever tries to flee will feel the pressure. The energy of Capricorn is like gravity. It cannot be negotiated. To try to ignore reality today is like trying to hold up a crumbling wall. The pressure will only increase. The unresolved problem will become heavier. The postponed conversation more urgent. The consequence of the habit more severe. Fleeing today does not lead to relief, but to an intensification of the weight. The second response is that of courageous acceptance. It is to take a deep breath, to look at the raw and naked truth, and to say, okay, this is it. This is where I am. What can I do from here? Whoever faces the truth feels strengthened. There is an immense power in stopping the fight against reality. The moment you accept the facts, the energy that was once spent sustaining the illusion is released and returns to you. Clarity, however harsh it may be, is the first step to sovereignty. It is from the solid ground of reality, and not from the swamp of fantasy, that one can begin to build something that lasts. Today's truth may not be pretty, but it is the only foundation upon which an authentic life can be built. After the cold light of reality tears down our illusions, what remains? The gift of the moon in Capricorn is not just the clarity of the truth, but also the energy to do something with it. Capricorn is not a sign of passive contemplation. It is the great builder of the zodiac. It is the architect, the engineer, the master builder who takes the raw material of reality and erects structures that can withstand time. Today, after the truth has been revealed, the energy shifts from a tone of an audit to one of an invitation. The universe, after showing you the fragile foundations, now hands you the tools and the blueprint to start building something solid, something real, something that lasts. This call to build is not about grand, impulsive gestures. The energy of Capricorn is methodical, deliberate, and focused on the long term. Today's invitation is for you to begin to think about the architecture of your life. What are the structures that sustain your day-to-day, your career, your well-being? Are they solid? Can they bear the weight of your most ambitious dreams? Today is the perfect day to sit down, not with the anxiety of uncertainty, but with the sobriety of a planner, and to begin to draw the foundations for your future. The first and most fundamental of these structures are your habits. A habit is nothing more than a structure that you build in time. It is an act that you repeat with discipline until it becomes the basis of your day. The moon in Capricorn is the perfect energy to commit to a new habit that is aligned with your new clarity. If yesterday's truth showed you that your health has been neglected, today is the day to commit to the habit of a daily walk. If the truth showed you that your mind is chaotic, today is the day to commit to the habit of 5 minutes of meditation in the morning. Do not underestimate the power of this. The energy of Capricorn does not favor grand one-day revolutions, but rather the small acts of discipline that, repeated over time, have the power to move mountains. The second area of construction is your commitments. Today is a day to evaluate the contracts of your life, both those you have with others and those you have with yourself. The energy of Capricorn asks for integrity. The promises you make today, under this moon, carry an extra weight. They are sealed with the energy of responsibility. It is an excellent day to formalize a commitment that you know is correct, whether in a business partnership or in a relationship. But most importantly, it is a day to make a commitment to yourself. It is the day to look at yourself in the mirror and to promise, with the seriousness of a sacred vow, that you will no longer abandon yourself, that you will honor your needs, that you will do the necessary work to build the life your soul longs for. Finally, this energy invites us to look at our long-term paths. Capricorn is the sign of ambition, of climbing the mountain. Today, with the clarity that this moon brings you, look at your mountain. Is the career you are building really the one you want to climb? Is the legacy you are leaving one that makes you proud? This is not a day to dream about the top, but to plan the next steps of the climb with realism and determination. Today's energy supports the creation of a plan, the setting of goals, the organization of the necessary resources for your great work. The call to build is Capricorn's gift. It is the promise that, after the hard clarity of the truth, comes the sovereign power to build a reality that is a reflection of it. After we have been confronted with the truth and called to build upon it, the moon in Capricorn presents us with its deepest test. It is not a test of intelligence nor of creativity, but of character. It is the test of discipline. Today's energy can be felt as a sense of restriction. Where there were once many options, now there seems to be only one narrow and steep path. Where there was once spontaneity, now there is a need for planning and for effort. This feeling is not your imagination. It is the energy of Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, imposing its limits. And our initial reaction to these limits is almost always to feel trapped, limited, as if our freedom were being curtailed. But herein lies the great paradox and the highest lesson of Capricorn. True freedom is not born from the absence of limits, but from the mastery over them. The freedom of a great musician does not come from playing random notes, but from years of discipline practicing the scales. The freedom of a great athlete does not come from running without direction, but from the discipline of a rigorous training. Restriction, when embraced with consciousness, is not a prison. It is the crucible that forges our strength and our mastery. Today's energy offers us this same opportunity to look at the limits of our life not as walls, but as the climbing structure that will allow us to reach higher. It is in this context that the universe asks us its most direct and most penetrating question. Today, the universe asks, are you ready to carry your own weight? What does this mean? It means being ready to stop blaming circumstances, others, or the past. It means being ready to take 100% responsibility for your life, for your choices, and most importantly, for the work that needs to be done. To carry your weight is the mature act of looking at your mountain, be it a debt, a habit to be changed, a relationship to be healed, or a dream to be built, and instead of lamenting its height, beginning to take the first step of the climb. The discipline that is asked of us today is the discipline of realism. It is that of waking up and doing what needs to be done, even when we don't feel like it. It is that of choosing the salad instead of the immediate gratification of sugar. It is that of having the difficult conversation instead of postponing it once again. Each of these small acts of discipline is a vote of confidence that you give to yourself. It is your way of saying to the universe, I am strong enough, I am capable, I am ready to do the work. And the universe, upon seeing your willingness to carry your own weight, responds not with more weight, but with more strength. By embracing the restriction, you discover your resilience. By accepting the discipline, you discover your freedom. This is today's test, and your response to it will define the altitude you will be able to reach. The journey of maturation that the moon in Capricorn proposes to us today, with its tests of reality and of discipline, inevitably leads us to a final, and at times, the most painful confrontation of all, the confrontation with our own ego. If Capricorn is the mountain, the ego is the part of us that believes it has already reached the top, that it needs no more lessons, that it already knows everything. It is the part of us that inflates with pride, that feeds on external validation, and that fiercely resists anything that threatens its self-image of competence and control. The sober and pragmatic energy of today has no patience for this performance. It acts as a compression force that shatters the inflated ego to show us what is, in fact, essential. The pain that many of us may feel today, the frustration, the irritation in the face of blockages, often does not come from the difficulty of the task itself, but from the wound to our pride. The ego detests being confronted with its limits. It hates the word no. It despises the feeling of not knowing the answer. Today, the moon in Capricorn repeatedly places us in situations where our arrogance is challenged. The plan we were sure would work fails. Our attempt to control a situation proves useless. Our self-image of being a person who solves everything is confronted with a problem we cannot solve alone. Each of these moments is a small death for the ego. And each of these deaths is profoundly painful for the part of us that has built its identity on the illusion of control and infallibility. The confrontation with the ego also manifests through our relationship with time. The ego is impatient. It lives for immediate gratification. It wants the result now. The energy of Capricorn, ruled by the slow and methodical Saturn, is the antithesis of this. It values the process, the maturation, the step-by-step construction. Today, the slowness of the day, the delays, the feeling that nothing is moving forward is a direct attack on the tyranny of our ego's impatience. It is a forced invitation to humility, to the acceptance that there are rhythms greater than our personal will. The discomfort we feel in the waiting is not about the waiting itself. It is about our ego fighting against its own powerlessness. But this process, however uncomfortable, is an act of deep healing. The moon in Capricorn shatters the inflated ego not to humiliate us, but to free us, because it is precisely our pride, our need to always be right, our refusal to ask for help that often keeps us trapped in cycles of suffering. It is our ego that prevents us from learning, from growing, from surrendering to a greater wisdom. By breaking this rigid shell of the ego, today's energy allows us, for the first time in a long time, to access what is truly essential: our vulnerability, our capacity to learn, our humble and resilient strength. Today's confrontation is the opportunity to exchange the heavy armor of pride for the lightness of authenticity. It is the choice to be real instead of always being right. After we have traversed the weight of reality, the fall of illusions, the call to build, and the tests of discipline and of the ego, we might ask ourselves, what is the purpose of such a demanding day? The energy of Capricorn, with its seriousness and its apparent harshness, may seem at first glance to be a transit of pure difficulty. But this is the final illusion we need to break. Hidden behind the austere facade of Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, there is a gift of inestimable value. The moon in Capricorn does not bring us all this weight to punish us. It does so because it knows that sometimes pressure is the only thing that can create a diamond. The hidden opportunity of today is to emerge from this pressure, no longer weaker, but indestructible. Think about this. Weakness does not lie in our mistakes, but in our refusal to look at them. True fragility lies in illusion, in denial, in procrastination. By forcing us to face the unvarnished truth, to take responsibility, and to do the hard work, today's energy is, in fact, performing a powerful ritual of strengthening. Every illusion you have allowed to fall today is a point of weakness that has been eliminated from your foundation. Every act of discipline you have practiced, however small, is a brick of strength that you have added to your structure. Today's seriousness is not the opposite of joy. It is the prerequisite for a joy that is real, lasting, and that does not depend on external circumstances. The first gift that emerges from this seriousness is strength. Not the aggressive strength of one who needs to prove their power, but the silent and unshakable strength of one who knows their own limits and their own resilience. It is the strength of the mountain. The mountain makes no noise. It does not show off. It simply is there, withstanding the wind, the rain, and the snow, unshakable. By embracing the discipline and the responsibility of today, you are cultivating this mountain quality within yourself. You are learning that your strength comes not from controlling the world, but from mastering yourself. The second gift is stability. In an era of uncertainty and constant change, the ability to be your own safe harbor is the greatest of treasures. The energy of Capricorn teaches us to build this safe harbor, not outside, but within ourselves. By building solid habits, by honoring your commitments, by aligning your actions with your values, you are creating an internal stability that no external storm can shake. It is the peace of knowing that whatever happens, you can count on yourself. And finally, the third and most precious gift is the clarity of what truly matters. By breaking our ego and forcing us to face reality, the moon in Capricorn acts as a great filter. It burns away the superfluous, the need for approval, the empty ambitions, the distractions, and leaves only what is essential. At the end of this day, you may leave with fewer illusions, but you will leave with much more clarity about your true priorities. This clarity is your compass. It is what will allow you to navigate the future, not by chasing ghosts, but by walking with a firm purpose toward your true legacy. That is why the final message is so powerful. Whoever embraces this energy grows. The growth that Capricorn offers is not that of a rapid and exuberant expansion. It is the slow, solid, and deep growth of the sequoia, which builds its roots in the darkness for years so that it can, one day, touch the sky. Our journey through the most sober and most real day of the calendar comes to an end. We have traversed the weight of responsibility, faced the unvarnished truth, heard the call to build on solid foundations, and were tested by discipline and by the confrontation with our own ego. Today's energy was not comfortable. It was not designed to please us, but to strengthen us. It was a descent into the foundations of our own life, a stress test that revealed every fissure, every weakness, every point where our structure was at risk of giving way. And if you have crossed this day with consciousness, if you have not fled from your truth, if you have accepted the weight of your own sovereignty, then you arrive at this end not weaker, but immensely stronger. Remember the fundamental lesson that this moon in Capricorn came to teach us. True freedom is not born from the absence of responsibility, but from the act of embracing it completely. True strength does not lie in controlling the world, but in mastering yourself. True stability is not found in external circumstances, but in the unshakable integrity of our own character. Today was an invitation for us to stop being the child who waits to be saved, and to become the adult who builds their own security, their own legacy, their own mountain. And here, at the end of this journey, the energy that seemed so heavy reveals its true nature. The pressure was not to crush you, it was to compact you, to transform you into a diamond. The restriction was not to imprison you, it was to give you the necessary focus to cut away everything that was superfluous. The sobriety was not to steal your joy, it was to show you the path to a joy that does not depend on illusions. And this leads us to the final gift, to the great revelation that only maturity can offer us. This is the gift that only Capricorn can give, the weight that liberates. It is the weight of the truth that frees you from the exhaustion of sustaining a lie. It is the weight of discipline that frees you from the prison of your bad habits. It is the weight of the responsibility that frees you from the powerlessness of victimhood. Today, you are invited to exchange the light and constant burden of your immaturity for the momentary and powerful weight of your own mastery. If this guide has helped you find strength in seriousness and liberation in responsibility, anchor this new foundation. Like this video to seal your commitment and share it with those who also need to learn to carry their own weight with pride. And declare in the comments your final decision to embrace your maturity and your power. I choose responsibility. And don't forget to subscribe. The construction of your legacy is a lifelong work, and we will continue to lay one brick at a time together.